I think we're rolling. This is Hi-Fi Live. I'm Jeff Osler, and it's time to do another video. We wanted to show you some stuff about vinyl and what's been happening when we said that the new generations had gotten into it. This is the little chart that the RIAA has provided. You can see the number there. See how it's gone kind of straight up. And then we have another one that compares all cells. I'll get better sometime and just be able to put these on straight from the internet so you can see what's happening there. But let's get in so that you can see that the vinyl cells are at the very top. All that orange in there was CDs. We have a lot of vinyl. And we have the biggest category is digital downloads. Digital downloads wins by a mile. But for the first time in, oh man, how many years did they say? We had vinyl that hit $1 billion in sales. Now that's brand new records because that's the way that they can track the sales. I have no idea what happened with used, or if we do eBay or Discogs or just people going to record stores, but that is new records. And that matters for what I want to talk about today. But this is what it says. The sales of vinyl records, they jumped 61% last year to 1 billion. Oh, it's the most since 1986, and that's what the RIAA. At the same time, compact discs, CDs, they jumped 21%, and they're 584 million, or just a little over half of what vinyl has been doing. It's marking the first year increase since 2004, the report added. Now, this is right from the RIAA. They said the retro music comeback is a consequence of growing nostalgia for old formats and the unique sound quality of vinyl. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I think it's important that you know who I am and why I want to do these videos, and you'll have to just bear with me. I'm really going to try not to use too many expletives. I've got them there. Trust me, they're up running in my mind as I do this, but I'm going to control. I've got friends. Anyway, I'm just trying not to. Mazzy, if you watch this, I love you. I just love the way you're so free and you can just flip out, and say what you want here. Trust me, that's what's going on up here with a lot of stuff. Like I said, I grew up with a father that was very interested in audio. In fact, he built speakers. One of the claims to fame that he did it was called a Carlson enclosure. And so you would put inside this Carlson enclosure, it was James B. Lansing had done some stuff with Altec, but then so had others. And so he put a concentric speaker, and it had the tweeter in it. It was a 15-inch woofers. And it was really a sensitive speaker, but it was good. We had tubes, and we didn't have, there wasn't real high end at the time. We had a dual turntable, and like I say, the tapes. I was interested in music. I have loved music. Something happened to me at a certain age, and I would save my money up, and I would take the bus downtown, and I would hit the record stores. And what I was after were records that had discounted because they'd come out, or for some reason they were, and instead of being $4.99 brand new, they were $3.99. And that's when I really started to buy quite a few of my records. There wasn't used records around. At some point in time, my brother came to me and said, all of these, the music that you do, it's all prayed over by devil worshipers, and it's a terrible thing, and this rock and roll is going to kill you. And he had me convinced, and I'll be damned if I didn't go down to a record store and take so many of my originals. I mean, I don't even want to get into what I had, I'll cry. And I sold them. So now it's been kind of a big pursuit to try to get back what I had, because I started collecting, I think when I was 12, I had a paper route, and I sold when I was 19 or 20. A lot of us did. I sold for a different reason than others. I was enamored with the compact disc. I worked really hard. I got married, and so Sony had a little portable player for $150. I made a goal. I saved for, geez, 3 to 5 months so I could do that. I was in school. My wife worked at a bank. We didn't have much money. I did carpet cleaning. In fact, I started a carpet cleaning company because used my great degree so well, but I did get a degree. But on to the audio. From there, I was able to do a lot of stuff, and I became a distributor of electronic games and a lot of stuff to do with computers. And one thing led to another. Before I knew it, I was in manufacturing, and I manufactured a lot of vending equipment, and I did that for 20 years. During that time, I became a part owner in a high-end audio shop. We carried a lot of the big lines. We had Levinson, Krell, Rotel. We did Wilson. Wilson's really close to me here, and so whenever they rolled out a new speaker, we would get it. Equipment that I have now, because let's just jump, because that's what matters. People, you know, what I'm gonna, it matters because of what I'm gonna say. I have emerging technologies, DAC. It's not cheap. It is emerging technologies is what they are using when to record digital. It's the number one piece of hardware that people will use today in their digital. Now, not everybody does. I mean, before they used to use Pacific Microsonics a lot, but I have that, and so I'm not exactly a slouch when it comes to digital. I do have an Oppo that I use for video, and it has really good, I think it's got a great DAC in it. It's a 205, I think it's 205D. And I bought an Aeon DAC because it's got a tube in it, and you know, it says it's going to convert everything to this DSD 256 that's so popular. I have a vinyl rig. I guess you should know I was very fortunate at a certain point in my life, and I bought a Clear Audio Goldfinger statement. It's excellent. Before that, I had a reference cartridge from Ortofon. I've got expensive arm, great preamp. Anyway, I don't need to get into everything that I have that way. You just need to know that when it comes to vinyl and digital, I have a good enough system. I've got Boulder I use a Boulder amplifier with Mark Levinson as the preamp right now. I've just been enamored with the Levinson preamp ever since it came out. I've tried a lot of others. I've tried all sorts of amps, and I use a Kimber cable, and I've tweaked my system anyway. And you need to know, I have about, well, between 8,000 and 10,000 records at this time. I say that because, you know, they come and go. I'm not a big seller. I usually go when I buy full collections if I buy them, because that's, you know, that's the way you get it, and you know, that's the endorphins that go, because it's, you know, it's the hunt, it's the gold mine. And so I've got a lot of records. I bought a lot of records since COVID started. When COVID started, I hadn't been buying many new records except releases maybe from Chad, maybe a couple of other high-end labels, and a few distributors online. And I would buy at the shows. I bought a lot of records when I would go to the shows. It was fun to go meet people. The other thing you should know is because of some businesses that I did, I attended CES show down in Las Vegas. I attended that show from 1987 until 2016. I've been to a lot of CESs. Why that matters is because the CES show, that was the audio show. I mean, that was how everything happened. So I tried to stay up on it. But now let's get back to what's going on. I've done just 2 videos, and I've had some really interesting comments. Very enlightening. Many of you don't care whether a vinyl record that you buy happens to be a digital source, or the digital is sourced in the mastering, while others clearly think that it matters. My take is that the deceptions are clearly rampant, bold, and they're lying. The industry is full of weasels and vipers and vagrants. I mean, there's weasels. And why? I mean, why should we trust any new vinyl record that we buy that we can know what the mastering process was from beginning to end? Very few. The only two that I know for sure right now that I can trust is some stuff from Acoustic Sounds, and they have labels like Yarland and maybe some others that do stuff, but even, who knows, maybe they're in digital. And my Blue Note. Outside of that, there's not a whole lot going on that you're sure. Why? I'll tell you why. Because these lying weasels have decided that you can put a sticker and a hype sticker on an album and it says taken from the master tapes. Well, no, you know what? I mean, no, I'm trying not to use expletives. I mean, I can't stand it. It's ridiculous. Every damn thing's been taken from a master tape. Wake up. Everything. So these weasels, they know doggone well what they're doing when they put it on. What they're doing with the hype sticker is they realize that if somebody spent a lot of money for analog, that they don't really need the digital. If they want the digital, we have it. We have DACs, we've had CD players, we have streaming now. I mean, why for heaven's sakes would anybody go in and say, okay, I bought an expensive vinyl rig so I can listen to something digital? It's absolutely nonsensical. That's why this matters. Then people come out, well, what does it matter? You can't tell. Well, let me tell you why you can't tell. First off, I didn't get to hear the master tape. I wasn't there in the mastering. None of us have been. So I don't know how close they are to the master tape. You don't either. When you go, oh, well, it must be digital. Well, guess what? I don't want it digital. If, in fact, it's so damn good, what it tells you is how good digital is then for you people. If I can't tell the difference between digital and analog, digital doesn't mean that's so hot. What it means is analog is. And how do we know? Because there's so much difference in digital. There's so much difference in digital. Go out and listen to different DACs. Go out and listen to different chipsets. Listen to different, even what it's recorded in and what it's recorded on. Now here comes the rub. There have been a lot of, especially with the streaming services, they've done us a service, Quobuzz, you can get a lot of high-res files. I think that's great. Does that mean that it makes it to the master tape and everybody should do that? Well, look, if that's your jam, do it. All you need is digital. Just do it. You don't need vinyl. But my question is, why do you think they go to so much trouble? When you watch what it takes to create a vinyl record, it's a lot harder than it is with the digital. They don't even compare. I mean, go look at the plant. They have to, and the physical materials that they're buying. I mean, it doesn't even compare to when they're going to do an SACD or a CD. They're cheap as could be. Then you have digital files. Go do them. You have some. But then they said, oh, you know, these DSD 256, they're different. Well, I got news for everybody right now. Go try to find great DSD 256 that you really want to listen to. I downloaded the other day because I thought I've got to make sure I have them. I downloaded all of the samples that they have, the audio file, 1, 2, the speaker thing. And, you know, they have some pretty good cuts on them. But there's not most of the stuff I want to listen to. I mean, most of the things that we were buying and that they're putting out on vinyl now, it's not available in DSD 256. It's not available in DSD 128. It's not available in 64. It's just not available that way. It's insane what they say. So this is the deal. Right now, I'm not going to buy any more of the new records. Why? I mean, I might as well go back. I mean, the fact is by the time I clean the record, because I have an ultrasonic, I've got a degritter here. I also have a VP, I can't think of their name now. Anyway, I have some other cleaners, and the records, by the time I do my process, because I have a anyway, I'll get into that one day and show you what I do. I don't have hardly, I mean, I just don't have pops and clicks. I clean everything before I ever play it. I'm just not getting that. People come in and if I sit them down, they don't know whether it was a CD that's playing or my vinyl as far as the sound floor is concerned. It's really good. However, I'm done. Count me out. I do analog to do analog. That's why I do analog. Because not only does it take a harder process to make the analog, it's a much harder process if you're going to go really high end to tweak it here. I mean, you buy an arm, you buy the cartridge, you buy the turntable, you buy the stand for it because you got to make sure vibration control's good. You got to make sure that you got a good cable that goes into the preamp. You got to have a wonderful preamp that feeds feeds another preamp. That's a lot of steps. With my merging technologies, I put it in and I hooked up the internet to it, ran a cable to my preamp. It was really simple. But I can tell you this, for me, most of my listening has been 90% vinyl. Now, I did digital. I did exclusively almost digital for 20 years, trying to say it was great because I didn't want to deal with vinyl. Fact is as soon as I came back and I heard what was happening with these remasters where they kept it in the analog chain, and I was able to get, Classic Records was doing their thing. I mean, we have a lot of great vinyl right now. It's incredible how good some of it is. And if you want to do master tapes, do that. I do vinyl. That's it. I'm done. You can join me if you want, but I'm not buying any more new. I'm not going for some stupid hype sticker. And I don't need to come back and go, oh, that sounds really good, on my vinyl. You're damn right it sounds good on my vinyl. It should sound good on the digital. I have the digital it's as good as you can get. I mean, there's differences in some other players, and there's some that cost a lot more than what I have. But I'm using what they're using when they encode it digitally. It's good. It can be satisfying. It has a lot to do with who masters it and how they did the recording. But for me in my house, it's analog. I bought an analog and I want analog, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep that with my records. Hi-Fi Live, out.